sections to Chapter 3. Depending on how long, I'm planning on going through 2 sections today. With our Cascading Style Sheets, we're going to take a look at creating an ordered and unordered list. Again, we've done that before. We know that an ordered list is going to have numerals in front of it, so it would say like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And an unordered list is going to be what? Bullets. So we are going to be able to set up and use that. And then we're going to go through and take a look at applying and editing our Cascading Style Sheet. When we go through in class and do a section together, which website are we working on? Striped Umbrella. So if you can please make sure that the site that you have up right now is Striped Umbrella. In our textbook right now, I'm on page 3-6. Section, chapter 3, 6. Okay, for 3-6, what we need to do is we need to make sure we have the SPA page open, please. So in our Striped Umbrella site, we are on the SPA page, not index. Okay. So what we're going to do is we are going to go through and we're going to go and set up some of these items as an unordered list. On the very bottom, I'm in my text, and I want to make sure in the properties panel right here that I'm on HTML, not CSS. From our properties panel, the text down below. Again, I'm on HTML. What I want to do is under massages, there are 3 types of massages. There's sports massage, Swedish massage, and hot stone massage. I want you to highlight those 3 for me, please. Once they are highlighted, I want you to make this an unordered list. How would I do that?
There's bullets at the bottom.
So, with it highlighted, all you have to do is click on your unordered list item on the bottom. Now, here's a good trivia question for you. Why is there a bullet in front of sports but not in front of our? We didn't end it. We highlighted it all and we made that all an unordered list. Jack, give it to me.
You did that shift enter thing. I forget what it's called.
A break.
A break, yeah.
Instead of doing enter after sports massage, it would have been a shift enter, which instead of doing a P, it does a BR. And a BR, it just means it goes down to the next line, so it doesn't give you a separate bullet. Okay, so that's another example of how we can see here with only 3 bullets that there are 3 types of massages, and below that it is going to give us the description of what that massage does. If we would have had enters in between there, each one of those lines would have had their own bullet. Okay, now if you look here for facials, we can see that there are 3 types of facials. Let's set those up as bulleted lists also as an unordered list. And same thing for body treatments. There are 3 body treatments. So we have our headings of massage, facial, and body treatments, and the information below that should be set up as unordered list. Okay. What I want you to do is under the massages section, I want you to click anywhere in this line that says sport massage. Anywhere in that first line. Do you see down here on the very far bottom where it says list item?
Yes.
Now, if you put your cursor in the word massage, that's not there. You can't click on it. But because I have my cursor within an unordered list, I now have this option right here on the bottom for list item. So go ahead and put that on and then click on list item. You are going to get this pop-up menu. This only comes up because we have set an unordered list, and now we're going in and we're going to set up how we want our unordered list to appear. Here, within it, you'll notice that the list type, it says bulleted. In the drop-down menu for style, we can have a bullet or we can have square. Let's go ahead and choose square. And then click on OK. Now it's a real small change, but you can notice this item right here is a circle, and this up here is a square. So in Dreamweaver, we can actually define a little bit more of how our bullets look. We can't get super fancy, but unlike how we did it in HTML, this is much easier, correct? Let's go ahead and do that to our other items. Under facials and under body treatments, set your style to square. To all of them, please, yes. And you don't have to highlight it, you just have to put your cursor anywhere in there. What I'm doing now is I'm just pulling up what the HTML code looks like for this. You will notice that I did split view. I have my cursor here highlighting what the tag looks like in HTML. It says UL for our unordered list, and it says type equals square, and that's what gives us the square bullet versus the default one. You will notice that we have unordered list, and we have our starting our LI, a BR, which is our line break, which Jack talked about before, and then our ending LI. And down here at the bottom, we have our ending of our unordered list. Just recognizing what our code looks like. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to go back to design view. I want you to go to the end of your document. What's the easiest way to go to the end of your document? Not end. End will take you to the end of the paragraph. What's the best way to get to the end of the page? Control and end.
What?
Control and the end button, and the end button is located above your arrow keys to the right. That'll take you to the last page. What we're going to do right now is we're going to import some more text. Something that's already typed up. So to do that, we're going to go under File, Import, Word Document. And I'm going to need to find that under... Oh, I just realized something. Chapter 3.
In my folder or your folder? Questions?
It's going to be questions, yes. It should be under your account.
Okay.
And then under web design, you might have to scroll to find it. We are at the very end of SPA. Where your cursor is matters. What do we do after we import our text?
Clean
Clean up Word. You have to go to Command, Clean up Word HTML. You're going to get a pop-up window, have all the check marks on there, and click on OK. Now, notice, I have the words question you may have right after extension 39. Is yours in the same spot? What you want to do is hit enter so questions is down on its own line, please.
Shift after.
Before the Q in questions, I want to put in a horizontal rule. Do you know how to do that?
What did you say?
Horizontal rule. So to do that, I'm going to go up here under Common and click on HR. I want a horizontal rule between extension 39 and questions. How did I get that on there? Over here under my insert comment, there really is a button right there that says horizontal grouping. So yours should look like mine. No extra spaces above and below. So watch out for that.
Need help?
Okay, highlight questions you may have. So highlight that text, questions you may have. We're going to set this as heading 3. So we need to do that in the bottom left-hand corner. Set it to heading 3.
Questions you may have. This is so exciting. I just can't even handle it.
Let's highlight our questions. How many questions are there? 4. Let's make this an ordered list. What does an ordered list mean?
Numbers.
Numbers. So we're going to make that numbers. You will notice the same thing happened on this item as happened above with our bullets. Because they had BRs in there, just your questions have numbers in front of it, and then the answers are just indented in. Now the other thing that I want to do is I want to actually move all of these questions over even more on my page. I want there to be a little bit wider gap between the left margin of the page and where my numbers come in. And that's another feature that we have in Dreamweaver. So what you want to do is you want to highlight your 4 questions. You can't click anywhere. You do need to have it highlighted. And then down here in my properties panel, look at these little buttons right here. One has an arrow pointing to the left and one has an arrow pointing to the right. That's going to indent it. And I want it to go indent one that way. So you can actually click on it and keep on indenting a bunch, but we only want to do 1. But do you see how you can do it a whole bunch? But not what I want. I want it, so it is about under the Y and U for me. Let's go ahead and save that. Preview it. Does anyone remember the keyboard shortcut for previewing it on web design? F12?
Oh, it looks really pretty. It's so colorful.
You will notice here is our squares, our HR. We have used heading 3 and questions you may have. We indented in. Do you see on this page how the questions are indented in from our bullets? So we have our questions are set to heading 3 and we have our ordered list. That was section 1 on chapter 3. Back in Dreamweaver, on the properties panel, I want you to switch from HTML to CSS, please.
And still have the highlighting?
Yep. Well, it doesn't matter. I just want you to switch in your properties panel from HTML to CSS. The other thing that I want you to have is I want you to have your CSS styles set up on the right-hand side. Okay? Mine is right here. Do you see where I switched from insert to CSS? Do you have that? Okay? Right here. If you don't have it, find it by going Window, CSS. But this is what I need to have up on the over here on the right-hand side where it says CSS styles. It's the other tab next to insert. Find that?
No, we haven't.
Is yours in another spot?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's another spot because I might have moved mine.
No, mine's in
Okay. What's important to note on my cascading style sheet, I can't reach way up there with this little ruler. Do you notice there's 2 buttons? There's all and current. Okay? We need to make sure it's all is selected. Is all selected for you?
Yeah.
Okay? If it's not, click on it. Okay? What we want to do right now is we want to make a cascading style sheet that we can use across all pages. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a new one. To make a new cascading style sheet rule, do you see this little plus mark right here where my cursor is? Right here. Everyone see where that is? My mouse moves when I walk away, but it's right here. It's a piece of paper with a plus. Okay, I want you to click on that. When you do that, you're going to get a pop-up window that looks like, woo, new CSS rule. We want to make sure on the very top, the selector type, it says class can apply to any HTML element. By default, that will be up. There are other choices, but what the type of CSS rule we want to set up is going to be a class one. Now, what we want to do is we need to give a name. We have to name it. For example, what we want to do is we want to go through and we want to create a CSS for our list headings. When you create a name for CSS, you can't have spaces in it. If you put a space in it, it's going to yell at you and say, blah, it's not going to work. So right here, where it says choose or enter a name, this is where we name it, and the name you give it just applies to so you know what's going to be below it. So you want to describe what you're going to be using. So we're going to do the word list underscore headings. No space. It will not like you if you put a space in there. List headings. Now this next step is going to be where it will cause you problems, okay? By default, when you create your first style rule, it's going to be set up so it applies only to this document. We're going to create an external style sheet that we can link to that all of our pages for Striped Umbrella can use. So we don't have to recreate it on every page. That defeats the purpose. Right here on the very bottom, rule definition. Choose where your rule will be defined. This document means it's only going to be at the head section of this page. Is that where we want it? We don't want to recreate this style on every page. We want to create it once and use it on all of our pages. So we have to, right here, choose from the drop-down menu and change from this document only to new style sheet file. Because this website that we are making for Striped Umbrella, there is no external style sheet. The first thing we have to do is make that CSS page. And on that CSS page, we're going to have all of our different rules. So by doing that, we're going to have to then create our rule. And click on OK. Now, what comes up next is it's telling me, what are you going to call your CSS page? And what we're going to call it is we're going to call it SU underscore styles. SU stands for Striped Umbrella. Underscore in the word styles means that this is going to be my style sheet. We need to make sure, please, please, please confirm that you are saving this under your account Striped Umbrella folder. And again, I'm going to call it SU underscore style. Under Striped Umbrella, under your account on the H drive of the network. Not under assignment submit.
Save.
Then you can hit save. What we just did is we created a file called SU Styles where we're going to save all of our style sheets. I am on page 313 in case you're trying to keep up. We are flying through it today. This next page, this next screen that pops up, notice what it says on the top. CSS rule definition for list headings and SU style sheets.css. Right now, what we're going to do is we're going to tell it how to format our list heading. So we can set our font, we can set our color, we can set our alignment. All of that fanciness we can do right here from drop-down menus instead of typing it in HTML. So what we want to do is we want to choose the font of Arial Helvetica Sans Serif. Okay, so you choose the font family drop-down menu, Arial Helvetica Sans Serif. Our font size, we want to choose 12 px. Our font weight is going to be set to bold. Our font style is going to be normal. Our color, we want to type in as pound 006. Yes, question?
Push enter.
Close that page. Yes. Once you have that set, your font size, your weight set to bold and style to normal, and your color, go ahead and click on OK. Now, we're not going to apply it, no. We're just clicking on OK. Now, up here, where my CSS style is, my panel, I'm going to click on the plus, and notice I have one rule set up here, and that is for list headings. If I needed to go in and modify it because I didn't set the color to blue, to get back in there, all you have to do is double click on that list heading right there. And when I double click that, it's going to pop that window back up, and I can set my font or color or change whatever I need to. So that's how you get back in there. Switch on your CSS styles and then just double click your list headings. Guess what we're going to do now? We're going to go through and apply it. Okay? Now, the main thing that we did first is we switched properties panels from HTML to CSS, correct?
Yeah.
I need to make sure on your properties panel that you are on CSS. Highlight massages. What rule do we want to apply to there? List headings. Do you see it right here, drop-down menu? Says targeted rule. Do you see list headings? Select it. And you can do that to facials and body treatments. Now, what do you think of the size font on here? It's tiny. So, I showed you one way that you can change it by double clicking up here on list headings, but I want to show you another way. Because I always like to show you lots of ways.
If I leave it charged.
Do you see? I had mine hidden before, but do you see how I have list headings selected there on the right-hand side? I just drug it so you can see it now. Right here it says font size 12. Change that to 14 by just clicking in here. You can change 12 to 14. When you do that, what did it do to your page? It changed them all at once because we set that rule to follow our list heading. If I change the color right here, it automatically would change that also, but I'm not going to. I'm leaving it set at 14 blue. Okay? So, massages, facial, and body treatment have the list style applied Go ahead and save that. And I just am hiding my list rules just to clean up my page a little bit.
Yeah, you clean up that page.
I will.
You changed the font.
Now, some of you, this was working for you before and some of it wasn't, but I would like eyes up here so I can show you. Zoom in a little bit. Oh, I don't really know what to do.
Oh, I just went like That's why you put them up here.
What I want to point out is right here on the word massages. Do you see what kind of looks like a steering wheel for a ship? That icon? Okay. This is my code navigator. So it looks like a steering wheel for a ship because it's going to help me navigate my code. When I actually click on, I have to be patient. When I click on that, it's going to tell me the code that was applied to that page. So when I click on that, you will notice it's telling me that I have the page Css Styles, CSS, and list heading. Why is that helpful? How is that used? I am working on a team with 5 people. I went through and created the style sheet. Abby comes in and works after me. Does she know the name of the style sheet I did? If she clicks on that code navigator, will it tell her?
Yes.
And it will then also tell her very easily what is the name of that style that I applied. And she has information without someone having to leave notes or even putting code comments in on the back side. You can go ahead and see your navigator for codes. Now, sometimes this works and sometimes it doesn't. Is your navigator coming up or not coming up?
When you click on what?
I don't have a navigator.
Don't have a navigator? All right.
Oh my gosh, me neither. I'll admit it.
It's a slow navigator.
It is kind of slow. You got to be patient with it.
Just click it.
Yeah, it takes
It does take a moment. Like, you got to put your cursor there, then all of a sudden it shows up. So mine is showing up when I have applied my CSS style. So I have my cursor in the middle of the word massages. I wait a little bit, and then the code will, navigator will pop up.
Oh, I found it. Right here.
Now, I realized by clicking on my code navigator here, and I got this to pop up, I can actually edit my style from here. So far I've showed you 3 different ways to edit your style while Taylor puts her phone away.
That's actually mine.
What will happen is I can actually go ahead and click on this, and it's going to open up my style sheet. You need to do this because I need you to edit your style sheet. So I was in the code navigator, it showed me, and I clicked on list headings. This appeared over here on the left-hand side. Okay, now, please note, way, way, way far up on the top, I have 2 buttons. I have source code and I have SU Styles CSS. Do you see that? These 2 right here. This right here is all of that coding that happened when we made that style sheet for list heading. Before, we had to type all of it in and make sure that we had our colons and our semicolons and our curly brackets all placed correctly. By using Dreamweaver and choosing the drop-down list, it automatically puts that code in there for us. What I want to do right now on my code is I want to change the color. I don't want it #006, I want it #003. So I'm just going to backspace on the 6 and do the 3 Nothing changed. Why?
Didn't save it.
I didn't save it.
Alright.
So then I need to save it. Then when I click back on my page, the color blue changed. It should no longer be a brighter blue, it should be a darker blue. Did you get that to happen?
The anchor didn't work, but we went in there and we fixed it differently.
But I need you to know how to do it from this way too.
I don't know, I didn't really make it.
You switch right here. Source code,
I just had to
SU
refresh
styles. Yeah, you do need to refresh it and then it will update.
Did you change it?
It is a darker blue. Okay? That is chapter 3, section 1 and 2. Okay? That is where I'm stopping today. Some of you need to still finish up chapter 2 for Blooms and Bulbs, Trip Smart, and Caroline's Creations. Others of you may need time to work on your Dreamweaver chapter 2 questions. You have time now. Go forth and be productive.
Go forth and be productive.